Hey, creators, it's time for you to get really good at what you do. And by good, I mean original, thoughtful, experienced, and be willing to show you have a soul. Because the soulless army of AI avatars is coming for your job. Hard. About 6 months ago, I wrote a piece assuring most folks that AI wasn't going to eliminate their job. But I made sure to extend a warning to one particular at-risk group: low quality creators. Yes, you product pimping writers, you stock footage knitting YouTubers, and 99.5% of you influencers. Gen AI is already eating your lunch. The algorithms are now pumping out people who are better looking than us, with more relatable backstories than us, and a far better grasp of SEO driven content than we could ever hope to have. Because it's already working on the inside, partnering with its search algorithm cousins to sell way more foot massagers and rug pull crypto investments than we could ever dream of. But I don't blame you. I blame Sports Illustrated. Oh, and I blame myself because I kind of helped start the whole thing. An article, human written I hope, in Futurism last week dove deep into the alleged use of generative AI by Sports Illustrated's parent company, the Arena Group, who also bought The Street from Jim Cramer, by the way. It seems that SI contracted with a third-party company to create promotional product review content for its website. That third party, it's alleged, used AI-generated authors with AI-generated bios and headshots to write AI-generated content for those promotional product reviews. They got caught. I'm not even going to debate the Gen AI angle here, because as I said 6 months ago, Gen AI is just the shitty solution to the greater problem, the problem of low-quality content creators. And in this case, low-quality content publishers barfing out SEO-driven words to sell foot massagers and crypto scams. It's not the fact that this content exists, it's the fact that it's justified. And that justification is going to be the number one backlash against Gen AI. We're not giving the people what they want. We're just using that as an excuse for deceptive marketing practices and barely ethical sales tactics. Telling me that Drew Ortiz has spent most of his life outdoors is no different than assuring me that his recommendation is based on his experience using the product outdoors instead of just made up content from someone who has never set foot outdoors or even has a foot. This hits especially close to home for me. For one, and this is showing my age, I used to subscribe to Sports Illustrated as a kid, and I grew up reading gold from people like, okay, let's face it, Frank DeFord is the only one I can remember, but trust me, it was once the undisputed champion of sports-related content the world over. But also, I was half the brain trust behind Automated Insights, which started as Statsheet, which produced the first commercially available AI-generated content in sports in 2010. We covered all the pro and college Big Three sports teams, and we even cranked out Yahoo Fantasy Football recaps. We got acquired by a private equity firm in 2015. So yeah, I'm going down like Stephen Falcon in War Games, hiding on an island somewhere while the world blows itself up over a game of tic-tac-toe I coded. I'm showing my age again. But in all seriousness, you can see where I land on both sides of this issue. As the internet gets more soaked with ever-increasing mounds of data, it's becoming much more difficult to synthesize that data into meaningful insight. Thus, the name change of our company to Automated Insights. We weren't trying to replace writers because, at its highest levels, AI is not good at that. Mechanically, yes. The thoughtful soul-having part, not one bit. We were trying to replace data scientists, and we were successful at that. We crunched data into words that could relate the what of the event, not the why. Gen AI, for all its magic, still isn't very good at the why. Will it be someday? Maybe, but it isn't now. So even if we accept the premise of using an institutional brand to sell content real estate to foot massager manufacturers and publish questionable reviews with affiliate links, the writer's supposed to tell us why we should buy that foot massager, based on their experience with this particular foot massager and many other foot massagers. I'm just saying I want some podiatry with my review. This use case gives Gen AI a terrible, awful, not very good name. On the flip side, I'm also a creator. I write a lot. I do videos now. And before I became an entrepreneur, I was on my way to being a full-time rock star, at least in my misguided future vision. And when I sit down to create something, my primary intention is to create something good. Man, I know advertising has always blurred the lines between creating for the sake of art and creating for the sake of commerce. I'm not naive enough to believe that the former can exist without the latter, but I'm also not jaded enough to believe that we should accept the latter without any hint of the former. Good content from generative AI is not free. It's not even cheap, a hard fact that OpenAI is having to come to grips with pretty quickly now. Admittedly, SI stopped paying for the Frank DeFord level of quality content decades ago. And maybe Gen Z or the next wave of kids after them is going to fully embrace the notion of trusting an attractive avatar with their life decisions. But there is data aggregation, which is fine. There's automated recommendation, which is fine. And then there's duping millions of people into thinking AI has a soul. That's wrong. And the creator in me will die on that hill. Let's talk about bullshit low quality content. It's not the Frank DeFords of the world or the good quality content creators of the world that have to worry. It's the fact that the internet is inundated with this crap content. The reason why Automated Insights was so successful back in the day wasn't that we produced automated content, it was that we produced quality content at scale. Gen AI may be able to do that someday, but not in the use case it's trying to achieve, which is all content everywhere. One of the things I'm really starting to look into, and this is a bit of a future look, is the opportunity behind all that content coming online. The fact that some of these better creators are going to stop wanting to pay the exorbitant prices or the exorbitant margins that their platforms are taking from them. And they're also going to want to spin out what they do into what we'd call real startups. You see people like Mark Rober, who has turned his YouTube fame into an actual real company that produces a subscription-based product. There's no infrastructure for this, or at least the infrastructure that exists comes with exorbitantly high rates for the content creator. There's an opportunity there, but I've said too much. So let's talk about Teaching Startup. If you want to support what I'm doing here, you can help me help you by becoming a member of Teaching Startup. You can join Teaching Startup at teachingstartup.com, become a member, and have access to over 700 questions, answers, posts, and polls from experts like me, asked by real members, real entrepreneurs like you. So again, you want to support me, join teachingstartup.com. I appreciate you. Go do great things.